Welcome everyone to the People's House.
Mr. Speaker, will you please call the House to order?
The bill is passed.
We want to make sure that we make New York a more affordable place to live, a better place to raise a family. Welcome to Assembly Update. I am Assemblymember Angelo Santa Barbara, representing the 111th Assembly District, which includes Montgomery County, parts of Schenectady County, and parts of Albany County. Well, spring is upon us, and our guest today is Anthony Mills, Executive Director of the Empire State Sports Council. So we're going to talk about physical activity, some great events. Welcome to the show, Anthony. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So with spring here, people are going to be more active as the good weather comes. But your organization is active for most of the year, if not all of the year.
Yes, we have several events that we schedule throughout the year. Our season actually begins in the fall, September 1st, and our year ends on August 31st.
And this is an organization dedicated to sporting events and around sporting events. How did you come to get involved with the Empire State Sports Council?
I actually had a physical education degree, so one of my interests was certainly to be able to work with youth in sports, but also had a major interest in exercise, health, and education. So quite often, a lot of the times, people that are involved in sports don't understand the health and educational aspects of it. And so there was an opportunity for us to be able to put all three of those things together and come to an opportunity to be able to give each of the kids whatever it is that they're looking for. Athletes come from all different shapes and sizes, and I use the term athlete not in the sense of someone who's maybe going to be an Olympic qualifier someday, but someone who basically wants to take a particular skill and develop it to whatever level they want to.
And you mentioned something very important. Physical education, physical activity is very important, and it's important that people are involved and have the opportunity to get involved. What are some of the sports? What are some of the sports people can look to find at your organization?
Well, one of the things that's really kind of interesting from my approach to athletics, and I came to this conclusion a long time ago, if there's an opportunity for people to be able to get some exercise value out of what they do, and you can keep score, it qualifies as a sport for me. So as long as there's an interest and a way for people to, in large part, get away from the TV, get away from the video games, not that they don't have a particular place in society, I'm not so sure that they're the method or the means by which people provide a healthy lifestyle for themselves or their families. So that was the beginning point, and then from there it was just a means of trying to find ways that were most helpful and interesting to the people that we worked with. Some of the sports that we find obviously are the mainstays of athletics would be, flag football, basketball, lacrosse, soccer, those types of things. But one of the things that I found most interesting a couple of years ago was someone came to me and said we should have pickleball as part of the Liberty Games, and I thought, pickleball, what's a pickleball? And it turns out that it was a sport geared mostly towards older athletes that had maybe played tennis or racquetball or something like that in their younger years. And obviously, as you get older, the knees and the hips and the shoulders and the elbows start to hurt. And so the tendency is to try to find a way to be able to still be competitive, but not have all the injuries that come with the intensity of a game like tennis. And so another term for it was actually short tennis. And after I heard about it and I actually saw it played, I thought, what a fantastic opportunity, not only for people maybe in their 40s, 50s, or 60s as they got older, but sort of what t-ball was to baseball, pickleball would be the same type of thing for anybody learning to play either volleyball or tennis. So there's a lot of opportunities to be able to take the physical education aspect of sport and be able to tailor it to each individual athlete depending on whatever their age division is.
That sounds, I had never heard of pickleball either, but that sounds sounds like a great sport. And any sport, it's great to get involved and to explore and to figure out what you're good at. If people come to the organization, they're all different ages, you said.
That's correct.
How and obviously all different types of athletes. How let's say someone came and said, hey, I'd like to play flag football or a sport. How would they go about that process, and how would they get on a team? Are there several different teams, beginner level, intermediate, expert levels?
Well, some of the events that we have are already geared towards teams that currently exist, and that was really one of the goals we had when we picked up what was the previous state games. We wanted to have an opportunity where coaches worked with the athletes that they already had. So, in case with the Empire State Liberty Tour, which is track and field series that we started back in 2004. Those teams already exist. Somebody competes on a track and field team. They can register as individuals. They don't have to be part of a team, but we do have opportunities for people to register as a team. In some cases, relative to the Liberty Games, one of the dynamics that we changed was that we wanted people to compete with teams that they already belong to. So rather than making super teams, it was an opportunity to be able to take coaches with athletes they already had worked with, that they have a vested interest in, because of the amount of time that they spent working with them, and they get to work with them throughout the entire Liberty Games.
And the Liberty Games themselves, how did they come to be? Was it a concept that somebody said, hey, let's put a series of games together, or was it something that kind of evolved over time?
Well, it actually came from a couple of different things. We were approached in 2007 by the state games people at that particular time. One of their people came to me and asked me, because we had already had the Empire State Liberty Tour track and field series going on, and he asked me if we would, kind of merge with them and help them with their qualifier for track and field. And I said that wasn't a problem. We went and got some TV opportunities, some radio opportunities. They end up having 350 people show up, and I had competed in this event, 2 or 3 years prior to that as well. And these numbers were 3 or 4 times what they were getting for that particular event. So there was certainly a great opportunity for people to get out to be able to compete. What we wanted to be able to do was change some of the dynamics to the games from what they had done before. And that was to make it more team-oriented. So we wanted teams that were already organized to be able to compete as teams, and we wanted to be able to open up to different age divisions. So because they only had people in the scholastic level, open and masters divisions that were competing prior to that, we had already put together the concept of some sort of a junior Olympic version to the Liberty Games, which would actually be geared towards kids somewhere in the ages of 3 or 4 years old, right on up through 15 and 16. So it was an opportunity for us to be able to reach out to the kids that otherwise didn't have state competitions, at least from a state games point of view. So we wanted to be able to put that type of a program together for those particular ages. When we found out in 2009 that the games were actually suspended for the first time, we had already been again involved in the track and field portion of it. So all we did was offer a track and field championship to the people that were already involved with track and field. And kind of seeing the handwriting on the wall at that particular point, it was relatively easy for us to start the process because we were working on this junior Olympic version to say, hey, we'll be prepared just in case something happens. And it turned out subsequently in November of 2010, we got word that the state games was not going to be able to be funded. So it was a natural process really for us, because we'd already been working towards that particular end. Because we had prepared for the junior Olympic version, to pick up all the other age divisions wasn't really much of a factor for us.
And this is a series of events that happen. Is it over the course of how many days, or is it a?
It is. Well, the challenge that you run with youth sports is that there are so many regional and national competitions that are going on. You can't always have it in the same 3 or 4 day period that you might otherwise want to do it. So what you end up with is we're trying to spread it out over a 10-day period. We'll start on this particular case in 2014. We start on July 12th, and we'll finish on July 20th. What that allows us to do is cover 2 full weekends. Now, the bulk of the sports will get contested from the time that we have the opening ceremonies, which will be on Thursday. I think it is the 18th or something like that. And then we still have the 19th, 20th, and 21st, which will be most of where the games get contested. But there are 2 or 3 different types of sports. I believe powerlifting and Olympic weightlifting is one of them that will get contested the weekend before, just because of the way that it falls in the calendar for the regional national events that are going on. What we don't want to do is put anybody aside and say, hey, we can't contest this sport because we wouldn't get most of the athletes due to some regional or national competition going on.
And certainly a lot of preparation goes into training for these games. And like we said, spring is here and people are more active. It sounds very exciting. How do people get involved? How do they get their team registered? Is the best way to visit your website, or should they call or visit?
Well, one of the things that we felt was an important change to make in what we were trying to do for the Liberty Games was instead of develop it around people that were regional administrators, we have a system that actually reached out to sports chairs, and the sports chair oversees that particular sport for the entire state. So rather than have a lot of administrative people involved, we wanted more sports-oriented people involved, somebody who knows their particular sport inside and out. One of the first people that came to mind was Jason Morris, who's our judo sports chair and has been with us since the very beginning. A former silver medalist from the '92 Barcelona Games. Just made common sense for us to approach somebody who knows what they're doing in the sport of judo. Not only has he competed at that level in 4 different Olympics, but he's got athletes that competed in London in 2012, and he's got a couple that are likely to compete in 2016. So we wanted to be able to reach out to people that had an in-depth knowledge and a lot of experience in running events, knew a lot about their sport, so it would be a relatively easy process to be able to contest these particular events throughout the year. Having said that, we rely heavily on their input as sports chairs as to what the registration process should look like, what the age divisions should be that should get contested, how those age divisions should be contested, where it needs to be located, what type of facility do we need to be able to accommodate all these types of different age divisions. So in large part, they really dictate what it is that's got to be done.
So it may vary from year to year as well, depending on participation.
That is
sounds
correct.
like, yeah. So we're going to flash up. I think you have 2 websites. For more information on the Empire State Sports Council, they can visit either one of those websites, and I know they're going to flash them up, and I'll also read them: www.essportscouncil.org and thelibertygames.com. And anything we've talked about here, we missed, and plenty more will be on that website as well. What we're going to do is we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk more with Anthony Mills and the Empire State Sports Council and all the exciting things that are going on there in the world of sports. Stay with us.
Thanks for calling the GED Pep Talk Center. Jerry Stiller speaking. Your level 7 in-your-face pep talk.
I can keep pushing. Believe me, I'm good at it.
Once you've got your GED diploma, you'll feel so good about yourself.
You tell him.
Mr. Trejo, can I transfer this guy to you? He needs something a little more
Persuasive.
Yes.
Whatever motivation you need, we've got a pep talk for you. Get your GED pep talk and find free classes at yourged.org.
Being a dad can be tough.
No. What do you mean she's not coming?
When's the fairy princess coming?
Any minute now.
But when you're willing to do anything,
It is I, Cruz Zinkorbell. Okay, time for cake.
It's always worth it.
I know it's really you, Drew. I'm just pretending for the other kids.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov.
Kids will spend 8 minutes decorating their little brother.
Brushing for 2 minutes now can save your child from severe tooth pain later. 2 minutes, twice a day. They have the time.
Live with a human for a while and you get to know a few things. Like, I know she's actually not a morning person. I know she does strange tricks for no treats. I know that water makes her howl like crazy. I even know how the floor stays so clean. She's quick. But the one thing I will never for the life of me know is how she gets so tiny and inside that box. Natalie, how do you get so tiny?
Welcome back to Assembly Update. I'm Assembly Member Angelo Santa Barbara. My district office in the city of Amsterdam at 1170 Riverfront Center. I can be reached there by phone at 518-843-0227. In the city of Schenectady, my district office is at 433 State Street. I can be reached there by phone at 518-382-2941. As always, by email at santabarbara@assembly.state.ny.us. And of course on social media, I am on Facebook under Angelo Santa Barbara. You can follow me on Twitter under ASM Santa Barbara or on Instagram under Assemblyman Santa Barbara. Welcome back to Assembly Update. We have been talking about the Empire State Sports Council with Executive Director Anthony Mills. Anthony, thank you for being on the show. Thank you for sharing all the information that you talked about with the Liberty Games on the first half of the show. We're going to talk about a few other events. Again, with spring here, people are looking to get more active, looking to get on a team, get involved. This is the place to do it. You have 2 websites for information that we will flash up on the screen where people can explore more, essportscouncil.org and thelibertygames.com. Some of the other events we talked about during the break that I thought were very interesting, we talked about Memorial Day weekend. There's events that happen. Tell us about what's going to happen on Memorial Day weekend.
In 2004, we actually started which kind of grew out from the fact that we had homeschooled our 3 children, and a lot of homeschooled children that we had participating in our club didn't really have opportunities to compete. And so out of that grew the Empire State Liberty Tour Track and Field Series, which is an outdoor series that starts Memorial Day weekend, and then finishes up Independence Day weekend, and we have 5 meets that take place in between. So the first one, each one of them has a particular patriotic type of name to it. And the first one that kicks off the Liberty Tour is the Patriots Invitational. We anticipate that will probably be possibly at Schenectady High School this year again, which is home of the Patriots. We're not sure on that one yet, but it's a great opportunity for a lot of people from all different ages to be able to come out and compete in what I would consider to be probably the perfect cross-training sport.
And certainly we want to see Schenectady High School compete in these games, so that's great, right in the district. It sounds like a lot of training to get ready for this. Now, when people are involved with this, obviously there's guidance as to how you're going to train to get ready for these games as well.
We work really closely with a lot of the clubs that are in the area that compete. We certainly get some of them from outside the area as well. But we're trying to be able to organize. We actually have a new program we started this year called Rising Stars Clinics. And a lot of times you may have 50, 60 people on a club, or I know there's a couple of them locally that have upwards of 100 people on their club. And you just don't have enough knowledgeable people all the time that know all the different aspects of track and field. And so we try to do as much as we can to offer opportunities and services for people to be able to get proper training. So